I'm Bruce Buffer. It's time for the Anthony Gorgano Show!
Good morning! Good morning, everybody! Happy post-draft Thursday to all across the Delaware Valley. Apologies for a little delay. Always run through tech. Tech is it's what we live in. We're at the mercy. So it's VJ Edgecombe Baylor to your Philadelphia 76ers. Look, in the end, that was the chalk pick, right? That was the safe pick to go get an athlete, to go get a kid that you hope develops. I mean, the kid's a teenager, right? Like, so it's hard to pin, and I'm guilty of this sometimes too, because when you look at players, and it's really difficult in the NBA because you're dealing with such younger talent. Like the NFL, the draft is a lot easier to kind of figure out because, 3 years of development is a big deal for most players on average. And a lot of times it's even more when it comes to the NFL. So you kind of got more of a polished player. The NBA is so young that you see it all the time. Guys blossom at different points in their career, and they become special. So it's hard to look at like VJ Edgecombe and go, well, is he a true point guard? Can he be that distributor? What about a shot? Like all that stuff can develop. The one thing we know, and I think the reason why it's the safe pick and ultimately the right pick, the way the draft fell, it's because the kid's an athlete, right? Like the kid can get up and down the field, and he likes to defend. What excites me about VJ Edgecombe is that he's a more than willing defender. I think in this NBA, you need that. The Thunder showed you that. Indiana showed you that. That when you look and you make you become a terrific defensive team, that will help you win. Like we all fall in love with offense and threes and guys that can score and all this ability, but ultimately, you win, I think, on defense. Yeah, you're going to make shots, and SGA makes shots, but they won. OKC wins because it plays defense. And you got a kid that is a terrific defender, right? The rest of his game will come. We'll see. Like, I think it was the right pick. I mean, Ace Bailey, I guess there was some deal with the Jazz that he knew he was going there. Wanted to go there. Maybe he was going to be the man there, whatever. It was the wrong spot for him here. And he's not a defender. This kid grew up tough, like on the island of the Bahamas, right? He's hungry. He wants to succeed for his family. Like, that this kid has got his head on and wants to achieve. So he's a terrific athlete, can run all day long, and can defend. So for that matter, I mean, I like the pick. Again, I loved Harper, loved it. I mean, you could have got me if you traded back and got Trey Johnson at 6. I mean, I would have been all right with that too. I do think Trey Johnson's a player. But, ultimately, I think this is the safe thing to do. And you're compiling players, right? Like legitimate players. I don't know how they fit, right? Like, truthfully, I don't know what you do, like how it's going to work because you got Maxey, right? Maxey's not a point guard. All right, Maxey's better with the ball, off the ball. I just think he can create more. I want him focused on scoring the basketball. You got McCain, right? He's not really a point guard. He's undersized. He's really more of a 2. But, I mean, listen, he's willing. You got Grimes, who is, again, a ball-dominant player. We assume that Grimes will be back. So you have a collection of players. Now, whether it's another trade, whether it's kind of making them fit together, the Paul George thing, see, what hurts you, too, is because George is also a wing guard, right? So, like, that could be a spot in the future for Edgecombe, right? Like, I liked that comp about maybe a new Jimmy Butler, right? Like a young Jimmy Butler. Like, who knows? Like, he defends like Jimmy, right? His game, he gets that shot going. That could be a reasonable comp. It would be a rousing success, obviously. But, again, a guy to develop the whole thing. I mean, ultimately, the difficulty for Daryl Morey is you're not about right now winning, but you got major pieces that need to win, and you're on a wide open East. But you're also trying to get younger, more athletic, and not have the future be so bleak. So you're kind of, you're kind of balancing your roster, and it's really difficult. Again, and this is really no fault of Morey. I could be very hard on Morey, but this is no fault on him that Embiid's knee is what it is, right? Because it all comes down to that. Like, I heard all kinds of stuff that we'll get into about possible trades. I heard the Knicks are looking to move Cat. I heard the Knicks and the Sixers discuss the trade that might have involved Embiid for Cat and Mitchell Robinson that was turned down by New York. There's all kinds of things, but you're stuck because of Embiid and George and their availability, and then balancing the other aspect which is making sure the roster has talent, has athleticism that can go up and down the floor, and this is where VJ fits. From VJ to VG, he was your guy. I know you got to be dancing on air.
VJ. Yeah, I had him. Maybe I'm a moron. He was number 2 on my board. I am
he's not
excited.
Shouldn't be number 2 on the board if you actually watch basketball. But that's
okay. Right. Well, we've disagreed in the past. I've been right. Sometimes I've been wrong. Sometimes it happens. Yeah,
you've been right.
Yeah, I got receipts. I don't need to prove it.
You actually need to. I don't know.
All right, I'll bring it up later on. I'll show you.
I mean, you can't tell me he's number 2 behind Harper. Please.
I do believe it. I just did. I'll say it again. I'll say it all day.
Stop.
Like say it all day.
Stephen A. talking about Jeremiah Fears.
Well, I mean, he's a nice player too. I like that guy.
I know, but he tried to say he's Kyrie Irving.
No, I mean, I wouldn't say that yet.
You're saying he's better than Harper. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Okay.
That's all right.
All right.
Stick to the plan. Stick to the.
Yeah.
You got VG.
Love it.
VJ.
All this kid does is work hard and improve. He's 18. You watch him as a high schooler. If you watch the video, his guide hand was a problem with his shot. His guide hand is stable now. It stays still. It's not involved. His shots improved as the season got along at Baylor. Once conference play hit, I think he shot 40% in January from 3, 39% during Big 12 play from 3. Everyone says he's got a bad shot. I don't know. He's 39%. Who shot more than that from 3 in the top 5 picks? I don't know. He's got 2-point-something steals a game. That's going to translate when
forget all your stats and all your nonsense. All right. The bottom line is, which I completely agree with you, the kid is definitely a worker, and the kid loves to play defense. So that, to me...
Well, that's why he contributes right away.
That, to me, is what I think, why it's the right pick. Where you were at that moment, the way the draft falls, it's the right pick because he wants to play defense. He's a good defender. He's a good athlete. And the other point that you bring up, which is I think is spot on, which is he's young. Like he's a baby, right? Like he's got so much development in him, right? Like there is a lot of upside to what he may be able to be, right? So at that youth, and you get a kid that's willing, that's hungry. Like I agree with you.
He's a dog. We don't have enough of those. Even right now, if he's a sixth man off the bench, the Sixers had nothing really coming off the bench. And he's a high motor guy. I know that you hear that all the time, but he is. He wants to
play defense.
And rebound. And when you saw him in like the Bahama Olympic qualifier games, when the spacing was a little more, he was a little more effective. He's a little more creative. He's got to work on his left hand. He's not great off the dribble, but catch and shoot, he's one of the more effective 3-pointers. Catch and shoot. So I'm pretty stoked.
Yeah, well, listen, I think you got a piece for the future that I think is legitimate, and it's
he's not
a talent that you could grow with. Like the upside, like the home run upside is a Jimmy Butler-esque, and the downside, the floor, like the bad thing would be Chris Dunn, right? Like that's kind of the spectrum on one side, the other. And
I think Chris Dunn's a little unfair. I mean, he wasn't.
Whatever, dude. I'm just telling you, like that's kind of what he wasn't. I know you like the kid,
but he wasn't that athletic, nearly as athletic, Chris Dunn.
So that's kind of the spectrum that you have.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was the right pick. And again, it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out, right? Like the roles, and you still don't have a real point guard.
Right.
Like that's an issue going into next year. That Maxey has to run the point. And Maxey's not a point guard.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm not getting paid $9 million, 10, 12 to coach this team, but this is Nick Nurse's problem now. Figure it out. Figure the rotation out.
I mean, that's kind of where you're at.
Yeah.
But again, it's a good piece. We're going to talk to a little roundtable to Devon and Derrick coming up shortly. Looking forward to that. Our Sixers team and our basketball team, Devon, Derrick, Kyle, Rich.
Killed it last.
I mean, just did an amazing job last night. allphly.com, allphly, YouTube, everything else, Xfinity and Roku, all the places that you can watch us. I want to thank those guys for a great night. We had a big party. Everybody loved it. It was a lot of fun. It was great basketball talk, and those guys killed it. And I just want to laud them for a moment about how good that show was last night. Those guys were fantastic. The draft itself was interesting. I guess Knipple going 4 was a little bit of a surprise. Ace to Utah, something was there. You could see that was there. Trey goes to Washington, which was interesting. The one trade I did not get was New Orleans trading an unprotected first to move up 10 spots. So we'll see. We'll see how it kind of goes.
Brooklyn with a big reach with that Agor.
Dude, they drafted all 5 guys. 3 or 5 are point guards who can't shoot.
Good on them.
Sometimes I don't understand these teams and kind of what these teams are thinking.
Yeah, I'm happy. I was happy watching the Nets draft last night.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't see it.
I really just like before we get into, I think this city's just gonna love Edgecombe. Just his mentality. He's a humble kid. He's
definitely good.
Spot,
yeah, I agree with that.
And he's a hard worker. So
I agree with that. And listen, in a league that needs defense, you get a kid that wants to play it. Like that to me is his best attribute is that you said, dog, I agree that he wants to D up. And this league, you saw it, man.
Yeah.
You saw with OKC how important it is to play defense.
I'm actually excited about these young kids because Bona's another one who likes defense. I like these kids.
You got to develop them. Man.
Yeah, of course.
You got to develop them. You need to develop offense. There's a lot of work to be done.
And I'm excited about what's left for their first pick in the second round.
Yeah.
There's some good stuff out there.
Yes, there is. We'll get to all that coming up with Devon and Derrick. But let's talk about some of our friends first, shall we? How about Rothman, baby? How about Rothman Orthopedics? Let's get back to what you love to do. All right? Like this summer. Summertime is a great time for activities. Fall, we watch football. All right? Summer, we get out. So whether it's biking by the Schuylkill, chase your kids through the sprinkler, finally tackling that hiking trail, or, playing ball, right? You never know. You know what happens when your body doesn't cooperate. And this is where Rothman Orthopedics comes in. From aches and pains after a pickup game to those old injuries flaring up during summer adventures, Rothman's team of experts here to help. Evidence-based care, a commitment to restoring your mobility. They're going to get you back out there stronger than ever. Don't let pain put your summer on pause. Don't do it. You don't need to. Visit RothmanOrtho.com/PHLY to book your appointment today. Get back to doing what you love. Pain-free. Rothman Orthopedics, getting you back to your summer game is their mission. All right, let's talk about the Bet Park Sportsbook online casino app. Fightins. Oh, man.
Fighting some dogs on the Bet Parks today. They're plus 125.
You know what the problem was last night? I mean, come on, Bohm. You can't strike out. You got the tying run on third base and you strike out.
Mm-hmm.
No good, dude. That was a killer. And it's a shame because once again, Wheeler pitched
another gem.
Started out shaky like most aces do in the first inning, and then he just settles in and grooves. Right? He pitched really, really well, but the offense fell into a slumber. Today, you got Sanchez on the bump
and
Hunter Brown, who's had a great year.
Ridiculous right now.
Right? Big strikeout guy.
ERA under 2.
This is where, it's great. You pile up all those wins without Bryce. You need Bryce. You need Bryce in that lineup, man.
But I am taking it with a grain of salt. The key is the pitching still looks ridiculous.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's why there's no need to worry. I agree with you.
Yeah.
But what do we got for the line today?
Phillies plus 125. Astros minus 148.
Probably another under in this series.
Under is at 7. Yeah, juice is on the under.
Yeah, you can see another under here. The Bet Parks offers the Bet Parks combo for each of the Phillies games. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. I was just going to say, it feels like almost like a little mini World Series matchup maybe with these two teams right now. Feels good.
I don't know about World Series. You think Astros are World Series?
With their pitching?
I don't know.
We'll see.
I mean,
there's no real. Detroit is the leader in the clubhouse right now, but
yeah, I mean,
Astros are one of those teams you just can't cut them out.
Yeah. Anyway, lots to do on the app. You have a lot of fun. All your baseball stuff is right there. Club World Cup, it's all there, and the casino games, live dealer, blackjack, roulette, all your favorite games right on your phone. Easy access. It's fun. It's a blast. And new customers get up to $1,000 casino bonus back if you're down your first 24 hours. BetParks.com has all the details. You got to be 21. You got to be in PA, New Jersey, Michigan, Maryland, Ohio. If you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right. Now, let me invite to the program guys who did a banner job last night. Let's welcome Derrick Bodner, Devon Gibbons.
Yeah. Nice job.
Boys, we salute you, fellas, because you guys crushed it last night. Riveting stuff. I loved it. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
No, thank you. It's fun.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to start opening statements. All right. Devon, you go first. VJ Edgecombe.
So it was a good selection by them on the board. We talked about it on Thursday, and I know on Tuesday, and I know I talked to you and VJ about it earlier in the week. I was also a Trey Johnson guy, but to get VJ Edgecombe to have that defensive mindset, that team first mindset that he has, to come in at that good size, play in the backcourt with those smaller players, Tyrese Maxey, Jared McCain. And then, of course, if they do bring back restricted free agent Quentin Grimes, you do have a solid backcourt. He's going to be one that's going to come in and help off the bench. He doesn't have to be thrust into the starting lineup to save anything. He is going to be one that is going to be a team first, again, selfless guy where you can just see it out there on the floor. When we had Coach Scott Drew, his college head coach, on, he talked about him being a stat sheet stuffer and one that just wants to be better, wants to win, wants to do right by the next guy that's out there on the floor with him. So if that is the case, and we do get to see that player starting in summer league and in the regular season, then I think Sixer fans will eventually be happy, even the ones that don't particularly like some of the flaws that he has as a player. So get ready for maybe a 8, 4, and 3 type of stat line. That's going to be his season average. But what's going to make up for
Even
all of
those
that is
3
just simply
steals and a
watching.
block.
Exactly, watching the game and seeing how those deflections, those steals, those blocks, and those winning plays that down the stretch where if he's in there at the 5-minute mark and he is eventually taken out, but we're all discussing, hey, remember when VJ Edgecombe got that block to save that, whatever it was, to save that basket, and I think that's the type of player that they got last night.
Derrick?
Yeah, I mean, look, I have had VJ in my top 3 or 4 pretty much since we started doing big boards at some point in February. I think he has been always one of the safer prospects because he has such a high floor with his defense and his off-ball shooting. And I do think that's one thing when we start talking about his offensive game, his off-ball catch and shoot shooting was pretty consistent. I think it's pretty projectable. I'm pretty confident in it. It's off the dribble where you start having some question marks. But if he's going to defend at a high level, and certainly when he came to the combine and he measured, 6'5.5" in shoes with a 6'7.5" wingspan, that was taller than I think and longer than everyone was expecting. People were expecting him to be more in the 6'3" range. So him being taller gives him a lot more defensive upside, raises that floor. That along with the athleticism and the off-ball shooting, I think he should be a pretty safe bet. But he's also a pretty, there's the upside is there too. And a lot of times when we talk about who's going to end up being a star, especially out of this group where everyone had some pretty serious flaws, it's all right, which one's going to have outlier development? Which one's going to go from, because I heard you earlier bringing it up, Jimmy Butler averaging 7 points as a freshman for Marquette to eventually have the work ethic and the athletic traits to be able to put that in use and become a star down the line. And you certainly can't say for certain that VJ will be a star because there's concerns with the pull-up shooting, with the ball handling, with the ability to create space in the half court. But with that work ethic, with the fact that he picked up the game pretty late in life, he is a guy who really wasn't a national recruit until he came to New York about three or so years ago. And he really exploded from there. I think there's still a lot of untapped potential. And he has a work ethic that he's going to put in to try to get there. He has the physical tools that are unteachable and are going to be really great even at an NBA level. And you combine that with the effort and the defense and that high floor, it's just a really intriguing package. And I think, certainly there's some positional overlap that I think some people are going to be concerned by. I'm not overly concerned at this point. This team was horrible last year. You're drafting for players that you believe in, players that you think can be here for 6 to 8 years. And I do think fundamentally he is just a good enough defender and big enough. And I think he's going to be versatile enough where he can play next to either Maxey or McCain. The question is whether or not he can play next to both of them. I do think he has a body type where he's going to fill out over the next couple of years and get stronger and be able to defend bigger guys. Early on, that might be a concern. Long time, I'm a little less concerned by it. But like I said, fundamentally, I just don't care because I'm looking for people I believe in. And I think when you start talking to people on background and people who know VJ, there's probably nobody in this draft that you believe. Well, I don't want to say that because Cooper Maniac or Cooper Flag the Maniac.
Right.
But there's nobody in this range that I think people are going to believe in more than VJ.
Exactly. Especially when you juxtapose Ace Bailey, right? Like he's the polar opposite when it comes to makeup and demeanor and that perception. You look at what that kid's about. This kid's about defense. This kid's about, humble beginnings. And you could see that this kid really wants to achieve. Like you just feel it. Like you could just sense it. And that, like you guys said about talking to his coach and everything, that's what, he can be. He's going to be a kid that's going to work. That's great to build with. You said it. You're looking for guys that are going to be here for 6 to 8 years. You're looking for pieces. They're in a weird time. And I guess I'll go to you, Devon. They're in a weird time because on one hand, you got Embiid and Paul George, and you have a wide open Eastern Conference. But on the other hand, you can't count on those guys, and you're still trying to make sure you have enough players and enough talent to fill this roster out for the long haul.
Yeah, so when you brought up the Ace Bailey piece, and I was higher on Ace Bailey, of course, than everyone else pretty much at PHLY. But the one thing that I did say is, hey, he has an opportunity to come in on a team that has a certain level of expectations that are different from what before last night being selected by Utah, what Charlotte and Washington and Brooklyn had going into next year's campaign. And would he be willing to accept whatever role comes with that, knowing that he's not going to get those shots that he thinks he should have? Well, VJ Edgecombe is going to be the one that is going to come in and not worry about getting those shots that he thinks he should have, because he's going to come in and try to fill that role and earn his keep on this roster. In doing so, the defense is going to get him on the floor. The shot making is probably going to keep him on the floor that Derrick just talked about. And now when you look at the issues, as you pointed out, starting off in this role, that could eventually catapult him into a much larger role when, in fact, those other two, the veterans that you mentioned, will eventually step away. And then it is Tyrese Maxey. You don't know about Jared McCain and everyone else there, but at least for this particular player, and to have that possibility of those two later on down the line, where Maxey is already 5 years in, that has a head start on him. But if this kid is a quick learner, fast riser, you can see where a player like that next to Maxey long term would really work out. And then you build out from there with those two in your backcourt and see how it ultimately plays out. But he seems like, as Derrick said, the best bet at pick number 3. Although I was still trying to push for Trey Johnson.
Let me ask you a question real quick. Real quick. If I give Devon Givens the reins as Daryl Morey, and your 3 options are Edgecombe, Ace Bailey, or trading back and getting an asset and drafting Trey Johnson, what's A, B, or C? What would you do?
If you would have pretty much locked it in that I would have been able to get Trey Johnson on a trade back and get that asset, I would have done that, because I like Trey Johnson that much with the scoring ability, the shooting ability, and then hoping that the other stuff catches up with the defensive intensity, a little bit more care, let's say, with the defense there on that end of the floor, and some of the other things with the passing that we thought was there and we think is there. So I probably would have leaned more towards that. As much as I do like VJ, I was just pretty big on Trey Johnson.
Would you, and you, for the record, I know you liked Ace Bailey. You would not have selected Ace Bailey over Edgecombe, or you would have?
Just because, again, it soured me with, once we got that type of information of what the thinking was from he and his camp, and it did sour me a little bit. Wouldn't have fallen too far down the board, but yeah, I would have taken the asset and taken the player and Trey Johnson if that was one of my 3 options.
Derrick, would have been Edgecombe all along for you?
I like Trey Johnson a lot as well. Trey Johnson and Edgecombe were 3 and 4 pretty much for the entire last month on my big board. Trey had just had there's a tantalizing amount of offensive upside and shooting potential, but Trey had his very significant concerns as well. He really didn't get to the rim all that much. He honestly didn't do much inside the arc at all. He didn't have much of a pull-up 2-point game. He really didn't defensively. He was pretty bad. Didn't rebound at all. Like, the passing was still a concern. There were significant concerns with Trey. It's just that shooting was an outlier skill. Like, he might have been, if not the best shooter, one of the certainly 2 or 3 best shooters in this draft. The diversity of the shot was real intriguing. So I had a lot of interest in him. In fact, I had Trey ranked 3rd, although I think Trey was a little bit riskier of a prospect. So I did have VJ ranked 4th. Trade down, I'm not too focused on, just because I don't think there was a whole lot of value being floated out there. Like, there was rumors the entire pre-draft process about almost every pick, 3, 4, being up for trade, guys at 6, 7, 8 trying to move up. It ultimately didn't happen. I think that's because of the trade offers that came in. There just weren't a lot of teams down lower in the range really offering anything of value to move up. So I don't think that would weigh too heavily. I do think there is reasons to be, I had VJ and Trey in the same tier. I probably leaned Trey a little bit, but that's mostly just because I was willing to take a small swing at upside. I do think VJ is a safer pick and has probably similar upside as well.
What? Give me a range of players, Derrick, that you see VJ on the upside.
That's interesting. He gets brought up to Oladipo a lot, and Oladipo his freshman year wasn't as dynamic of a scorer as he would become. I do agree that there's a little bit of Jimmy Butler. Now, no comparison is perfect, and especially with VJ, there's absolutely no comparison that's perfect. Jimmy Butler is a solid 2.5 inches taller than VJ. Because of that, it's a little bit hard to make that comparison, especially since so much of Jimmy's game is sort of that power drive game.
Yeah.
But just in terms of, the way I think VJ can fill out in terms of his strength, the way that he plays a downhill style of play, and the way he defends and really gets after it. And I think that defense is going to set him apart pretty early on here in his career. I think he was outside of FLAGG the best defender in that group by far. And it is something where I think he's going to be both a playmaker and a solid one-on-one defender. I think he's going to get through screens defensively. So I think just that sheer toughness and the way he plays, and the way he is able, I think, as he matures physically, leverage his strength to get scoring opportunities inside. I think that's a reasonable play style comparison. Obviously, if he actually gets to that point, that would be a significant development and unexpected. But yeah. But I think that's reasonable. Yeah.
Yeah. And again, here's the thing: we could all look at numbers and it's still the Big 12, and it's still like it's one thing doing it against certain teams, and then the NBA. So his shot, his offense still needs to get better. The shot needs to get even more, and he's got to be able to score a little bit off the dribble. He's got to be able to offensively, I think, grow that piece of it. He's 18 years old, so I mean, that's the one thing I'm always uncomfortable with kids in the NBA draft as opposed to the NFL draft, where those 3 years of development are huge, and seeing what a player is going to be. Like, you still don't even know the kid's traits at 18. Like, things can change, Devon.
Yeah, and the one thing that we talked about even early, and when the season was already in the dumps for the Sixers and we were paying attention to college basketball, we knew where it was headed potentially. And we looked at Edgecombe. The shot, though, and the catch and shooting, when you look at his form and the mechanics, that's all clean, man. It's fine. And I heard VG talk about it before we came on, where he improved it from high school. I talked about him being in New York and some of that stuff and how he came onto the scene a little bit later. That shot looks clean. So if he can knock down and take advantage of those open opportunities, because they will be there out there on the floor with that collection of players that are going to draw and garner a lot of attention. If he can knock those down at a pretty good clip and then develop, because you just mentioned it, he's still so raw right now with the things that he can improve on and get better. If he can knock down that mid-range shot, whether it's the 1-2 pull-up or some other move that he makes where he has combination dribbles and he gets into a comfortable spot there. He's 18 years old? Has he turned 19 yet, Derrick?
He's 19, yeah.
19.
Yeah, okay, so he's 19. Yeah, so he is going to be one of those guys where you think he's going to put in the work, man.
Right.
And the one thing that we also pointed out was,
to your point real quick, so much of it is, do you get a kid that's willing to put in the work? Like, that's how you develop.
Yeah, and we mentioned, because once we all found out that Tyrese Maxey had came to the workout, for the workout and the meeting, he flew in, and what does he always talk about? That 1% better. And he's always in the gym. They couldn't keep him out of the gym. They had to tell him he can't come back to the gym. And he is already developing a relationship with him. What are you hearing? I know how you feel, but what are you hearing about Justin Edwards, at least, right? One of the guys that Tyrese Maxey has taken under his wing. He's always in the gym. They can't keep him out of the gym. He's with Tyrese Maxey in Texas working out. Let's see if that's the same with VJ Edgecombe. The early returns are that's the type of player that he's going to be. And all we can do is, number one, first is do the work. And then let's see if it translates on the floor when the lights are bright in front of that crowd. And we hope that it does. But it seems like he's the one that is going to actually follow through and do those types of things.
Yeah, and for the record, like you bring up Justin Edwards, and for the record, let's see if he can develop. I don't know. Just at first blush, I go, well, I'm dubious. But, listen, that's the beauty of youth. The beauty of youth is you can affect your future, right? And you have a dramatic impact on yourself because it's about how hard you work. And I think we all agree, all five of us, is that the character is strong. And I think that's a huge deal. Derrick, how does it play out? Let's look at this roster for a second. So how does it play out? Let's say you bring Grimes back. How do you kind of see, if this is what it is going forward, how do you kind of see the rotation?
Yeah, it's a good question. I do certainly expect Grimes to be back. I think especially, the Brooklyn Nets are the one team that really has cap space, and they've been shown that they're willing to use that cap space to, take back salary and trades and get picks for it. And if they're not looking to go out there and spend, there's really nobody out there that you expect will be able to use more than the mid-level exception, which means you should be able to get Grimes back on a reasonable deal. And even if maybe you have some concerns over all of these 4 guards fitting here long term, having him on a positive value contract will give you options going forward, and he'll be, I think, a good trade chip. Like I said, even if you can't find time for all 4 of them down the line. Early on, I do expect, Grimes to start, in part because he just got that big new contract, or we presume he will get a big new contract, and in part just because of how well he finished the season. He is the right combination of off-ball shooting and defensive ability and size to play next to Maxey. And then I think you're going to have McCain and VJ come off the bench. Like I said, long-term, I'm interested to see whether or not VJ can bulk up. Him and Grimes, I don't think will be an everyday 2-3 combo, but I do think there are going to be some opponents they'll be able to play them against. And if you can do that 40% of the time, 50% of the time, 60% of the time, whatever it ends up being, it becomes a little easier to keep these 4 guards on the roster long-term. But I do think it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out, because naturally, like, you would prefer one of them to be a little bit taller, a little bit longer wingspan to defend, hypothetically, not that it really matters because they're injured now, dismantling their team, but somebody like Boston, you could see giving that group a problem. But, whether or not that happens, that's, a little bit down the line. I think it's going to be interesting. I think it's a good combination of off-ball shooting, of on-ball creation that you have among these 4 guards. I think if you have a lot of good decision makers and guys who are going to compete defensively and guys who can all shoot, and I think, like I said, having all 4 of them who can shoot is huge. I think it's going to be interesting to see how they use it. I do worry a little bit long-term defensively, but this team won 24 games. That's a long-term concern.
Devon, you worry about having no real point guard?
Not yet. I think that because Maxey has done it, and we saw a little bit from Jared McCain, I would love for them to have a point guard in that way. That's why we were all, so high on Dylan Harper to be able to come in here potentially. Yeah. But not yet, just because of what Maxey can also do with
I just hate bringing Maxey. I like Maxey off the ball. I know. I know. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, going because of what we did see from Grimes during that stretch at the end of the season and he was on the ball a lot, where he did score that. He averaged like 24, 25 down that stretch, but they made a concerted effort to give him the basketball and let him also run the team, even though Jared Butler or Jeff Doughton was out there on the floor with him. He had the ball a lot as the lead initiator. So I suspect that if Derrick is right that he's going to start after getting rewarded with that new contract, that there are going to be those times where he is the one that is going to be on the ball, and he's going to have to make sure he sets up Tyrese Maxey coming off of those screens. And you know how things go with the dribble handoffs, and to make sure that Joel Embiid is setting those picks, and Kelly Oubre, Paul George, whomever are setting those screens. But yeah, I think there'll be a decent percentage of Maxey still off the ball. And now you're just going to have 2 scoring threats like Grimes and Maxey in the backcourt. And the beauty of it is Derek talked about, you at least have Grimes at 6'5". So I think he'll play off the ball a decent amount, where we'll still get to see him in that role, but also in a facilitator setup role as well.
Yeah, I guess, Derek, you can, kind of go with both guys as guys that can go interchangeable lead, and either can play off the ball. I'm a little more old school with, give me SGA, Halliburton, Brunson. Even though those guys scoring ones, they still are in charge of the offense.
Yeah. No, it's a legit concern. And I'm not so concerned about not having like a true point guard. I am concerned if there's just an overall lack of shot creation and passing and creativity.
And that's what I'm talking. And when I say point guard, that's exactly what I mean.
Yeah. And it's, unfortunately, unless you were able to get up to trade for Dylan Harper, which is part of why all of us were pretty hardcore pushing for it. There wasn't really a solution here in this draft at all. I think you can make an argument that out of the 4 options available to the Sixers in VJ, Con Knippel, Ace Bailey, and Trey Johnson, Con might have been the best passer of the group, and he's purely an off-guard 2-guard. There was not a solution here. So we were going to be having this debate whether they took Ace Bailey, whether they took VJ, whether they took Con. It didn't really matter. This was going to be a conversation. I am a little bit intrigued by McCain. I think he showed a lot more. Maxey gets some assists because he puts a lot of pressure on the defense with his shooting, and that opens up some passing lanes. And obviously he's a a blur and can get to his spots. But I thought McCain he's a little bit better of an anticipatory passer. He's a little bit better at manipulating the defense. I'm interested to see how he grows down the line. I do think at Duke, he was sort of hidden in that regard. And I think we said that before the draft, but there's nowhere near a pure point guard of this group. It is a very legitimate concern. I think it's less of a concern if you knew that Joel Embiid was going to be in there playing 55 games and, running the offense from the nail and you were trying to play off of him, but we obviously cannot count on that. So yeah, it's a real big concern.
And you know what? Before he was shut down for the rest of the season, Tyrese Maxey, there were a few of those games where we sat there and we watched him, and he didn't look to score first. The season was already what the season was, but he looked like he made it a real point to get everyone else going because he knew that he can get his, but he also had to get everybody else going as well because the double teams were going to come. The blitzes were going to be there. They were going to send a lot of help to him, and he had to get the ball out of his hands. But at least in the first quarter and somewhere in that second quarter before he started to really look for his shot, he made it a real point to find those others. And you guys know that I love the lobs when he gets close to the rim. Throw it up in the air, man, and let one of those guys go up there and get it. But it was more than that. It was the other ones that you and Derrick are talking about of setting up some of the others for those outside shots, or maybe even if it was putting the ball on the floor, closing out, defenders closing out. It was the right pass that Maxey made where at times we know he can get the shot off. Maybe it's a forced one, but he opted for an easier chance with one of his teammates out there on the floor. So we saw it a little bit. Let's see how consistently we see it.
I remember distinctly. You're right. I mean, I remember a lot of games where he'd have 2 or 4 points into the second quarter.
Exactly.
And then he had 12 at halftime, and then he would score 20 in the second half.
Right.
All right. Roster construction with this team. Where are you guys at, Derrick, as far as and again, I know it's a hard question because of the specter of Embiid, and we just don't know what he is or can be or what. He's been quiet. Everything's been quiet around him. I heard that there was some talk, and it didn't go anywhere, but the Knicks are looking to move Cat, and they had discussions, never really went anywhere, about Embiid. Where are you at with the roster construction now?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you can really trade Embiid at this stage. I think his value is so hit that it would not make sense. Nor do I think Daryl is really looking for it. I think Daryl wants to give it one more chance, see what happens. I mean, they need a power forward in the worst way. They need any kind of bigger guy, especially someone who can help on the glass. Unfortunately, they're pretty capped out. One of the downsides of retaining this draft pick, because now you've got that $10 million hit on your books, you are getting dangerously close to that second apron. It's going to be tougher to use that taxpayer mid-level to bring somebody like Gershon Yabusele back. I think we all assume that Grimes will be back. And even though you have that logjam, I think there's enough value and interest in Grimes around the league where it makes sense to keep that contract on the books, because I think he's going to be a valuable trade chip. One of the downsides, I'm really worried about somebody like San Antonio swooping in there and getting Yabusele. And Yabusele is not perfect by any stretch, but they're just so desperate for size that they're going to need a way to replace that. I mean, and even right now, when you start looking at second round prospects, it would be great to get another big man, even another center, just so you have more depth. I know the Sixers have Drummond still on the books. I don't trust Andre Drummond to be playing any meaningful minutes next year. Adembone I think he was promising, but he's still, a young player who, if Embiid's out, you don't want to be relying on for 30 minutes per game. I think they need some depth, but they also need some force too. So they've got some work to do for sure.
Devon?
Missing some size there for that front court. And that's why we've like we talked about some of these names that are possible for the second round, which I'm sure we'll get to. You are missing some size. Curious to see how it plays out with Gershon Yabusele. Bringing in Derek Queen last night, for what they did, and looking at a player like that, we were talking about him, and can he be like a similar type of player there? So I don't know, man. I don't know how they get that. The Towns thing is interesting, but I agree with Derrick that you're not going to get what you think you're going to get, any kind of value for Joel Embiid after not playing last season. So I don't know where they go with that one, especially with the offseason. This is not last summer where they have all this money to go out there and spend. But can Daryl Morey get creative? Yes. He in the front office can get creative and trying to figure out what the front court needs to look like going forward. Because right now, outside of Drummond, we have Bodner as the only real front court player that you have on the roster. So they do need to find some way to stack up some size in that front court to give them some different looks, because we don't know. Can you trust Andre Drummond? We all probably agree, no, you cannot trust him. So if that is the case, then you're going to need some other bodies in there to help out in that front court.
Hey guys, before we get to like second round, who's out there? Jedi Broom. The one concern I have about I'm a big VJ guy. I think the dribble stuff and shot off the dribble will come with work. He is a little out of control when he gets to the rim. He's a bad finisher. It's almost like he's too athletic for his own good. When he gets there, he's out of control. Yeah. Do you think that that's something that will come with experience? It doesn't seem to be something coachable, but as he gets older, do you expect that to improve?
Well, I mean, look, I'm sure Devon and I have a lot of experience just trying to dunk on people the chance we get. So we understand this is a little bit it's a little bit of an adjustment. If I had that kind of hops, I would be doing it too. No, I think that's absolutely right. You know, he gets into the paint and he at times doesn't seem like he has a clear plan of how he wants to attack. You know, I do think he has great hang time and pretty good body control. So I think he can develop in time, but the approach I think needs a little bit of work. And I think that's probably fair. I do think Baylor and the spacing in college basketball in general, but Baylor specifically, was pretty bad around him. I think when you go back and you watch his tape from the Bahamas last year, I think he looked a lot more natural in that setting. They was given the ball a little more too and showed a little bit of more on-ball shot creation. As a result, I think he is, just by virtue of being in NBA spacing and being around not only the further three-point line, but just 5 players who can shoot on the floor at almost all times, that will help him and that will help allow some of his natural burst to take over. But yeah, I think he struggled finishing contested layups. I think he shot something like 44% on half-court layups, and that's something that's got to get better, especially for somebody with his athletic tools at his disposal. But I do think, like, given time, I think that's a lot of approach problem, or at least an approach solution is fixing up that approach more so than a pure talent limitation.
And listening to the Sixers, at least Daryl Morey last night after they selected him, he mentioned it too, about finishing closer to the rim. So that's going to be something that they address, that they bring to his attention to make sure that they can fix that. But VJ, you also know this comes in a lot of different shapes and sizes, because Maxey was the same way for a while, where even though he had the speed and the burst to get to the basket, oftentimes he would pick up the ball too soon, where he's a smaller guy and wasn't necessarily elevating over the defender, but it made his shot difficult as he got closer to the rim. He has since changed that and adjusted that. And again, now he's going into year number 6. So when you talk about somebody like VJ Edgecombe, take that extra dribble. Maybe that hesitation is there when you do get in the lane, that yes, you can fly over people, but number one, preserve your body so you don't hit the floor hard oftentimes because you leave your feet too soon. But when you do incorporate that hesitation dribble, or just simply that in and out, or that simple bounce, that's one more dribble that can get you to the rim to make you that better finisher. I'm pretty sure that's going to be a focus of theirs early on in his career, where he corrects that problem. And then he's going to get to the free throw line. He's going to be rewarded with free throws off of a play like that. So could we see him maybe 4, 5, 6 times a night at the free throw line because of a simple adjustment like that?
We have some people in the chat comparing him to Zaire Smith. What do you say about that?
I think we've dealt with those people in the chat for a solid 6 weeks. I'm guessing it's the exact same people in the chat, actually.
Yeah, they're different, man. I mean, look, he was a power forward, Zaire Smith, in high school and even at Texas Tech, and it just didn't work out. I get it because of the size is similar, and I understand why the comparison.
Well, the scouting report,
he's not that dynamic scorer either. And that's where the people are going to go. So I get it, but I would bet that this kid is different.
I would say
Zaire made like 10 threes all year at Texas Tech. Let's calm down.
Yeah. I'm with you. It's interesting because the scouting report is reads similar, but I'm with you. He's not Zaire Smith.
And Hey, everybody,
And
listen, you talked about it earlier about him being a young kid, and you looked at some of the development of these other players that when they get to year 2, 3, 4 in college, you mentioned it, he only had 1 year in college. And when we had Scott Drew on, we had, we kind of like, all right, poo-pooed it. But what did he say, Derek? Like 18, 19-year-old Dwayne Wade. Not Hall of Fame Dwayne Wade, but early Dwayne Wade, because of where you stack up against these players where they're averaging 8, 9 points in their freshman years. That's what we're talking about. And even I think it was, I want to say it was Jay Billis from ESPN also pointed out that early Dwayne Wade. And what was the other one, Derek, that Scott Drew gave us as the other example? Did he say I don't know if it was Oladipo, but the Dwayne Wade one really got us because we were like, oh, wait a minute. But again,
yeah, I mean,
that type of
the
early.
same way,
Zaire Smith wasn't getting those comparisons at 19.
No, he was getting Kawhi Leonard, that
which was insane.
Right.
And something I heard you say when you started the show, like it's so much tougher now when you only have 1 year of tape to go on. Like you can go back. Jimmy Butler averaged 5 points his freshman year. Oladipo averaged 7. Donovan Mitchell averaged 7. I'm not saying VJ is going to be any of these guys, but it does add a degree of difficulty. If we would have sat here and tried to pick apart them as freshmen, there would be people making comparisons to, oh, well, this guy shouldn't even be in the league. Like it's just so difficult to take an 18, 19-year-old with, these incredible athletic tools and a great work ethic and say, here's what he won't be able to do in 7 years. It's just, it makes this projection really, really tough.
You're spot on, D. Spot on, brother. Let's talk about today. Let's talk about the second round and kind of what you're looking for and, kind of where you're at. Devon, where's your eyes going?
Yeah, so the one that jumps off, and I don't know if it's just because of the local part, but the Rasheed Fleming part at 6'9", a guy that I think could still be developed into something in that spot, in that body. Heard he's a good teammate, really good teammate, a good kid, hard worker, and one that many people believe he's going to be in the league for a long time. So with that, if he was right, of course he'd be selected much higher. But when you look at that and you project out and you look at 6'9", as Derek talked about, there's that hole there of that front court player to play alongside those others. If everything had came together with him as a player, and you look at that 6'9" frame that you can just simply slot right in between those guys, that would be a fantastic player. So right now, I would lean Fleming right there at 35. And because of those things that we watched him at St. Joe's, we know that it was a lot of Xavier Brown, it was Eric Reynolds offensively, but we also know he was a big piece of it, which is why he came out of school early, because of the fact that he was projected out to be a guy that was going to be a first rounder. And if they can tap into that and also being comfortable playing at home, since he's a Camden kid, if he's comfortable being able to play at home and that could work out for him, that would be a tremendous gift for them at 35, because we're not asking him to come in and be a star like we are with VJ Edgecombe. We're asking him to see if he can come in, continue to develop, and become a player, become a rotational piece. Who knows? Maybe we've seen second-round players become real key pieces in the NBA. But that's where I lean right now with Rasheed Fleming as we sit here at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Derek?
Yeah, no, I think he is certainly towards the top of that list, in part because I think that is, best player available, but also he's a real position and skill set of need. I think if this were not the Sixers and you didn't just draft VJ and you drafted maybe Trey Johnson, Adu Thiero, I think, was a great, he's just an absolute nuclear athlete who's a great defender and really puts pressure on the rim and gets up and down. He can't shoot a lick. And it's not like he's a shooting question mark. He's a pretty much non-shooter at this stage. 21-year-old who played 3 years of college basketball and hasn't been able to shoot really at any level. But I think he's a great talent, nuclear athlete, really fun to watch. Just not sure he's a great fit here. Noah Penda is another wing who I think, another forward type who I think has some interest. Ryan Kalkbrenner, a big man, and Maxime Renaud, who I think is he's a really intriguing offensive player as a big man. I do worry a lot about his defense, but just in terms of the progress he's made as a shooter, passing, I think he could be really intriguing as well.
Derek, final thoughts on the draft beyond the Sixers. What was your biggest takeaway?
Biggest takeaway. The Nets drafting 4 guards, and I'm going to include Danny Wolf in here, but 4 point guards, 4 people who initiate the offense and have massive shooting question marks. No idea what they're doing. If it all works out and they all become good shooters, like, all right, you've got a 7-1 point guard, a 6-9 point guard, a 6-5 point guard. Like, I think it's really interesting. And one of the guys they drafted, I'm really intrigued by in Traore, but I thought Jaeger Demon was a huge reach. I thought there was a chance it could have gotten him at 19. Taking him in the top 10 was a huge shock. And just the overall approach was stunning. And then the Pelicans. What are you doing? I have no, like, that one just, I was actually out and about, not on the show at the time.
Mention it's beyond the fears pick at 7. You're
oh
talking
yeah,
about
yeah. So they traded what, 23 and a unprotected pick in 2026 that was the better of, what was it, the two teams that's the better of? I forget exactly the details.
I cannot remember. Yeah.
I should have that in front of me. Dang it. But the two really good picks that have a chance to be, there's a really high likelihood that's going to be a top 10 pick in a stacked 2026 draft. They traded to move up 10 spots and take Derek Queen. And it's just, you cannot give up unprotected picks. Not only an unprotected pick, but the better of 2 picks and make that unprotected to move up 10 spots. It was stunning. There was a chance Derek Queen, I thought, could have fallen into probably not 23. Like, I think they would have had to trade up to get him. But overpaying the trade up to draft him was just an absolute stunner.
Made no sense. Devon?
Was it Milwaukee? Was one of the teams? I think it might have been Milwaukee.
Yeah,
I think I think it's Milwaukee in their own. I think, but I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, I think it's Milwaukee in their own. And for me, I agree with Derek on the Nets one. That was just bizarre because number one, I thought when they made the
we were sitting there the whole time after they drafted the first 2 point guards. We're like, man, wouldn't it be funny if they drafted another point guard and Ben Surratt comes off the board? And then we're like, well, it's got to be the 7'1" point guard, and there it goes.
Yeah, there it is. I agree with Derek on the Nets. The other one for me was simply Utah deciding, you know what? Screw it. I'm taking Ace Bailey. Let's go. Let's see what happens here. So that one was a surprise for me because the way that the information just kept coming out was Washington or Brooklyn and maybe even New Orleans at 7, that Austin Ainge and Danny Ainge decided, all right, we're just going to take the kid and let the chips fall where they may. And they did it. They followed up with getting now we know a winner, and Walter Clayton Jr. on the college level, making that move to add him. Smaller guard. I don't know if I see the point guard stuff in him like they may for them to make the move to trade up. He's a smaller guard, 6'2", 6'3", and clearly they don't love enough of Keontae George, and even Isaiah Collier to make that move. But he is a winner. He's a tough guy. He's going to go out there and he's going to try to continue to earn his keep. It's going to be tough in the West for him, I think, at the point guard position. So the Ace Bailey followed up with the Walter Clayton Jr. move to select him. Utah really stood out, just deciding Ace, let's have at it. Because we like Hardy. Will Hardy is a good coach.
What are they doing build-wise? Like,
I think trying, like Derek and Kyle talk about a lot, taking the swing and trying to find that star. They haven't really had a chance to do that before. And Ace Bailey, they're taking that swing to see if he can hit that star potential there in Utah. They've gone all the guards, and Lauri Markkanen maybe fell back down to earth after his all-star season, and nothing else on that roster. They're all Colin Sexton, Jordan Clarkson. These are all role players on that team, starters in case of maybe Sexton and sometimes Clarkson, but role players. And they're taking that swing to see, hey, we're here. He fell. Most times it looked like he was going to be a top 3 pick until he wasn't. And let's see if we can get him coached up, get him to like what we do here in this organization. And again, Will Hardy is a good coach. So if he accepts the coaching and buys into what they're preaching, maybe that actually works out there where they tone some of the stuff down that was a problem for him at Rutgers, and which he fell to the number 5 spot. So Utah is my final one.
Yeah, it's funny. I was always a Markkanen fan, and I just think he's better as a role player. I like him better as that kind of number 3 option type of guy on a good team.
Maybe he's shown that he can be a number 2 based on that stuff that we did see that All-Star season. Maybe he can elevate to that level, but
you get my point.
As a trio and not the face. Yeah.
Oh, boys, listen, great stuff, man. I mean, thank you. I love this. This is great basketball talk, and you guys are fantastic. What's on tap, Derek, today?
I mean, I think we got about another 5 hours of talking hoops. Devon's going on it. Devon and Kyle, we'll have Devon and Kyle on at 3 o'clock doing our normal show. Then we go on at 8 o'clock today, right?
Yep.
It's not 7, it's 8. So we'll be on from 8 to 11 covering the second round of the draft. But if we're being honest, probably mostly talking about VJ at that point. It's great that the Sixers have, the 5th pick in the second round because we can get to that pretty early on. And then we can sort of do a wrap up afterwards. But yeah, we'll be on at 3, on at 8.
Devon, man, fun stuff. Let's go, Fleming.
Yes, sir. Let's see. Who do you like? Real fast before we
I want
sign
Fleming.
off. Who do you like?
I love Fleming.
You want Fleming?
Yeah.
Okay. VG, who you like?
I'm good with Fleming, the French kid from Stanford, or Janai Broom. I like as a dog. Give me more dogs.
Okay. Got you.
He's a dog, man.
Janai Broom. Here you go.
I know you hate this game.
Make some free throws, man. I don't know.
Boys, thank you for your exemplary work. Great stuff. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, man.
Yep. Thank you.
There you are. Derrick Bodner, Devon Givens, all PHLY Sixers. This is what we dream of, right? Like where we got a place to go and just nerd out, right? Yeah. We want to nerd out with every sport. And those guys do a great job with it.
They were great, man. I had them on my laptop.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
I was doing both.
Yeah.
I had laptop
3
going,
screens.
and I had Nagandi.
I had Nagandi on. I had those guys on. I had the Phils on. 3 screen night.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, buddy. Let's talk about do some of our business. And then Derrick Brooks, agent, super agent.
Future president of the Sixers,
Brooks.
right?
Oh, yeah.
Future Sixers president.
That's, if I had my wish, I'm voting. I'm Derrick's campaign manager. Let's talk about some TrueMark.
All right, let's talk about TrueMark. Summer's here, which means the kids are out and about, hanging with friends, maybe even picking up a summer job or doing more chores around the house. So it's a perfect time to set them up with something that teaches them real-world money skills that'll help them the rest of their life and gives them a little bit of freedom. It's the Greenlight debit card and money app from TrueMark Financial. It's a totally killer cool product. If you're a TrueMark Financial member, you get a free Greenlight account for your kids or teens. It's a simple way for them to manage their own money, whether it's from the job allowance, birthday cash, graduation money. They get their own debit card. They can set savings goals, track spending, and learn how to budget. All while you stay in the loop from your phone. You're still in control, but they get to learn how real-world money works in everyday life. So before the summer rush kicks in and summer's gone, this is a great way to help your kids build smart money habits that'll stick with them long after the season's over and help them have a good financial life. So head over to TrueMark.com/Greenlight to get all the details and sign up today. Don't miss this chance to set your kids up for financial success. TrueMark.com/Greenlight.
All right. Listen, guys, fantastic. Let's go Parks Casino, Street Road, Ben Salem. Yeah, baby.
Yeah, baby.
Here you go. I'm ready to sing. You're ready right here. Tyler's not singing.
I'm alone
Maybe
here.
Hayden will sing. You going to sing, Hayden? Joey don't sing.
Hayden hasn't
Actually,
heard
go over on the mic.
Hayden hasn't heard any of these songs.
Yeah, Joey will sing. Yeah. Hayden's got no idea.
No, he's like, what? This is what I signed up for.
Yeah. He won't sing with you. You sing. No, Tyler don't sing. Yeah.
More of a humming?
Well, let VG carry it, and then you're there. So here we go. Parks Casino. Here's the lineup. Thursday, July 3rd, Gary Clark Jr.
Here come old flat top. He come grooving up slowly.
How about September 6th, UB40?
Oh, red wine.
Australian Pink Floyd, Friday, September 26th.
Ticking away the moments that make up the dull day.
I don't know. I don't really know that one.
How do you not know Pink Floyd?
Uncle Frank's here. He'll sing. He's got no shame. The Revivalists, October 4th.
I wish I knew you when I was young. We could have got so high.
How about Kansas on October 4th? Excuse me, not Kansas, October 4th.
Carry on your wayward son. There'll be peace when you are gone.
October 10th, Psychedelic Furs, Gary Newman.
Here in my car, I feel safest of all. I can lock all my doors. It's the only way to live in cars.
How stupid is that song?
It's Gary Newman, man. Maybe he was homeless, living in his car. Who knows? Struggling artist.
Saturday, October 25th, October 24th, Everclear.
Ooh. I am still living with your ghost, lonely and dreaming of the West Coast.
Almost Queen on November 15th. Tribute to Queen.
All we hear is Radio Gaga, Radio Goo Goo. Good clapping, Joey.
And
that's it, right?
yeah, November 15th. Bill Murray, his Blood Brothers. ParksCasino.com. You're going to be 21. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. No, you did good, Joey. You got stones, buddy.
Yeah. You gave it a shot, man. We appreciate that.
He got a ham. He's a ham. Well, Andrew's a ham.
I'm half a ham.
You're a ham. You're right. You're like a prosciutto.
I just like music, man. I like singing.
Yeah, that's cool. That's why we love you. All right, now joining us, super agent, our man to talk about the NBA draft, our buddy Derrick Brooks. D. Brooks, what do you say, my brother? Oh no, where is D. Brooks? I want to get my NBA on. He's got a lot of insight.
He's got some insight. Yeah, what's been happening?
It's an agents league,
Mm-hmm.
and in this league, there's always kinds of rumors. Like I heard all kinds of stuff yesterday.
Did you?
That Knicks thing is interesting. Well, them looking to pedal Cat is an interesting kind of development.
Would you kick the tires?
I'm not a Cat fan,
Yeah,
but
me neither.
apparently, I think the Sixers are smart. They go, hey, what about Embiid and for Cat and Mitchell Robinson?
You do that?
And yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, again, the shame of Joe is that
You know that. You know what happens. The Sixers trade him, and he'll miraculously be fine.
I hear
and then
you.
he'll kill us.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the way it goes.
I feel you, but I don't know what to do. I really, without the intel of what's going on with the knee and where he's at, we're driving blind.
Yeah, and it's not fun driving blind. Like we've been in the fog or the rain driving. It's not fun. It's a scary ride.
Don't know.
It's a scary ride.
Just don't know what's going on. And he's quiet.
I don't like
and
that.
I don't know how he handles a summer of discontent.
I am quite concerned because he has been so quiet, and we have all this soccer World Cup club going on here, and he's not around. This is his thing.
I know.
Yeah, that's a little worrisome. So I'm hoping he is in Germany getting platelet work done.
Yeah, I don't think he's there. He's not back yet. All right. While we wait for Derrick, another guy who was back, he made the rounds yesterday. Here you go. Let's look at this video of your hero.
My hero?
Yes. Come on. I'm being facetious. What's the video I sent you?
Oh.
Count it. Turn around. Count it. Look at this. Empty chin. Turn around.
Ooh, he's still got the chicken wing arm when he shoots. Flares out.
Yeah.
Get that elbow.
Yeah.
Get that elbow in, man.
Fall away.
Look at that. Oh.
Off the dribble.
Woo.
Bang.
Man.
Now, let me ask you a
This
question.
guy just heats up. How does he never? Yeah, go ahead.
Ask a question.
Yes.
Why would you post this stuff?
How does he not get? It's every year. Every year he does this.
Why do you post stuff? Hey, God bless. I really, I have no ill will towards anyone. Like, so,
Yeah.
I mean, if the guy somehow found his way through the wilderness,
Yeah, good on you.
God bless him.
Right.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
seriously. But why post this stuff of you shooting in an empty gym?
Who's he proving? What's he proving? And to who? It's so weird. It's like a look at me, but it's like.
I know. Like,
No.
at some point, you go, hey, in fact, don't look at me. Let me go work, and then I'll surprise you.
Yes, game. When I start draining threes.
Right,
Yes.
you're going, wow, what did Simmons do?
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Yeah, he's just adding more pressure to himself. Now people see him draining threes, and then he plays, and it's nothing. You're like, what? Boo! Then the boos come.
yeah, which is interesting, which is why Embiid being quiet is even
Yes.
you juxtapose the two,
The
right?
complete opposite.
The one guy's quiet here, boo, since March,
Right.
and the other guy's still posting workout videos. We can't get a hold of him? What's going on?
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. So I have them, and then we go to put him on like the stage, and then it drops him. So I'm working through it. I apologize. We'll get.
All right.
He's there. We're working through it. I'll get you there as soon as we can.
All right. In the end,
it would be a great story if the St. Joe's kid ends up here. The Fleming, Rasheer Fleming.
You need
6'9".
You need no size.
He can pop a little
because
three.
here's the thing: if you're gonna lose Yabusele, that's a problem.
Yes.
Right? Because right now you got no size.
Yeah.
You got none.
No, 6'9". He can shoot a three. He's mid-game, needs a lot of work, but
it's amazing. Listen, I'm all for Edgecombe, and there was just no fit. Like, I wanted nothing to do with Ace Bailey. Nothing to do with Ace Bailey. There's no way in the world you never know when you're going to be drafting this high again. And I feel pretty confident in that Edgecombe's going to be a player. I don't know how good, right? But he's going to be a useful piece.
Right.
That at worst is a really good defender.
Yes.
And who knows? Maybe he develops, again, 19 years old. I mean, are you kidding me? You're talking about a baby, man. And then, let's see. Like, I like to see him get more range, right?
Yeah.
Like, so it's a true 3-and-D.
Yeah.
So.
But with this team, like, they need some heart guys. Like, they got Maxey. They need some heart guys you can really get behind. I think
that's a build. That's a piece that you build around.
Yeah.
That's something that
like you can't coach that, as Jimmy Lyon would say. You can't coach heart.
No. The problem when we talk Sixers, though, is it's the tale of two teams. It's a rebuild going on with a win now.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Like,
yes,
it's the weirdest thing in the world. All right, we got Derrick. Let's see if we can get him. There he is.
Good Phillies cap.
Wow, he's got his Ryan Howard piece on.
Yeah.
What's up, fellas?
My man. What's up, D.
going
Brooks?
What's up, President?
Listen, my apologies. You're going to hear a little chatter in the background. I'm at breakfast with my daughter, Amelia. Go ahead, Amelia.
Hi, sweetheart. I love it. How beautiful.
We just came from the dentist. Little daddy-daughter time.
I love that. How's she after the dentist? She all right?
She's all right. You're okay, Moss? They tightened up her braces, so she's
that's the worst. Do you ever have braces?
No, yeah.
The tightening is the worst. It's like once a month. Just when the pain stops, they're like, you got to go back in. They tighten the wires. If your bottom teeth and top teeth just touch, it's so painful for like the first 3 or 4 days.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Oh, that poor kid. Give her love from Uncle Ant.
I will, certainly.
All right, so let's get let's dive into it. Edgecombe, what do you think?
I think he's a player. I think, the Sixers made the safe choice. They could have went left like Danny Ainge. I feel like Danny Ainge is a savage. He doesn't care. And he went in and just said, you don't want to be in Utah. Well, tough luck. You're going to be here until we figure it out. And he went and got the kid from Florida, too. I think Edgecombe is in the neighborhood of could be a Jimmy Butler if he gave it like that kind of
dramatic upside,
that initiative. Yeah. It's going to take a lot. I think all the rookies are going to have an issue with coming into the league. So, we can't put too much pressure on him to be our savior because we paid our saviors. We paid them and they haven't done any saving yet.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing, though. Would you have taken Bailey? Because I wouldn't have. Not with that. He doesn't play defense. He has a chance to be a star, but he's sketchy to me. Like, I don't trust him.
Yeah, it's a tough call because you don't want to get into a situation. And in Philly, we had 2 situations very similar to that, right? Like, you had the issue with Ben Simmons wanting to not be here, and that held up the progress of the whole team. They say one bad apple spoils the bunch, and Ben became the bad apple. And then when James Harden didn't want to be here, it was another bad apple. So I could see Darryl and the group looking at it and saying, if he doesn't want to be here from the beginning, he certainly isn't going to want to be here once he gets his legs under him, and that could be problematic.
So how are you with the construct right now? Because we talk about the dilemma of building around a team that is supposed to win now and knowing that you got to also kind of mix in a rebuild.
Yeah, I mean, that's the bigger issue. And I said on your guys' show before that none of us should get too focused on the draft, because the real issue is how do we handle the pieces that we have. And this season coming up more than ever, as the president, you should be looking at it as, here's a very slim window for us to figure out how to get to the Eastern Conference Finals, with Halliburton down, unfortunately, and with Tatum down, unfortunately. You know, you got a real opportunity with the Celtics may not do anything.
Dame's down.
Dame's down. Yeah, you got a lot of people that are down. At this point, you got to figure out, how do we win now, right? Like, how do we put together pieces to win now and compete with New York and Cleveland, because they're going to be at the top of the heap. And, you know, before you know it, Orlando's right there too.
And you know what? I could see Atlanta making a little push. I kind of liked it where Atlanta is.
Yeah. Atlanta's made some moves. I think Orlando specifically is looking at it like, here's our opportunity.
Well,
we got everybody
Bane,
healthy.
Yeah.
We got Bane here. Banchero's going to be playing and saying he's healthy. Like, they're going to make a push.
What's there for you? Like, what are you hearing? Like, are you hearing any moves? Any, you know, I heard all day yesterday from people that the Knicks are looking to move Cat. What are you hearing from the Sixers? What are you hearing around the league?
Unfortunately, there's not a lot of talk about the Sixers in terms of movement, because they know as well as everybody else does that they're kind of stuck in their position until they play their way out. So they got to play a few games and see Paul George healthy and see Joel healthy to have people say, hey, they're utilizing them wrong, or he spent too much time in that area. It's time to get him out. And then they'll make a play for him. It's hard to make moves when you don't have the upper hand to move anybody. That's the issue for them.
So where do you go? You just play it out? And like if you look at and then what's your, you know, in your eyes, like if you want to be Mr. President and you're looking at and you're looking at your guard rotation, like how do you see it?
I mentioned before, you know, I'd move Maxey because Maxey's my best piece. And I know that the chat is not in full agreement with that, but I think he's the biggest asset we have. We have an undersized backcourt, and that spells for missed opportunity, because we're not going to be able to contend with guys who are 6'5" and bigger at the guard spot. So we got to move off of one of those pieces. I think that defensively, VJ comes in and he's going to be asked to get those tough assignments, if not right away, soon as he gets his legs under him. Maxey does not do those assignments. Maxey's a natural shooting guard, so he would fit back into that position. And I think he'd be the best candidate to get us more pieces to try to win now. We're in a situation where you don't want to be in the NBA because you're stuck in the middle. You know, you got some pieces that are just coming on, and then you got some old pieces that you don't really know what to do with. And a lot of these college guys coming into the league, everything, if you think about it, everything's been run for them their entire career, right? All plays are run for them. Then they get to the pros and no plays are run for them. So you got to get in where you fit in. I think VJ best fits that now because he's not a guy who needs the ball. He's going to go out there and play defense, perimeter defense. He hates when someone scores on him. He's going to play tough. He's hungry. And to me, if I'm the GM or the president, I'm going down my list on my roster, and I want to see who's hungry and who's full. To me, Paul George seems full. To me, Joel seems full. They don't play with that same hunger and appetite that they once did.
Yeah, and I mean that's a tough ask because I don't know how you you approach it. I just don't know how to approach this thing. It really is. It's the frustrating thing. Like, on one hand, you're excited for the future, and you got a number 3 overall draft pick, and seems like a great kid. You know, he's going to work hard, right? He's a humble kid, right? He loves defense. Like, what I love about Edgecombe is that he plays defense, right? Like, he's a willing defender. And we just saw a team win because ultimately it played D. It D'd up. That was the genius of the Thunder, is that they're a great defensive team.
Well, you just said the key word, team. That the caveat and all of that is it's not a one-man show defensively. You need team effort. And that's what was great about watching the Thunder play, is they didn't play defensively on the man. They played defensively on the ball. Yeah. So when that ball moved to one side, there was a crowd around the ball to get the ball. It seems as if, specifically with the Sixers, you're guarding man to man, and we emphasize our best defender, but it can't be just one defender, because there's multiple people on the opposing team that can put you in a tough situation to lose a game.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. The other issue that I think you have with all the guards is there's really not a natural lead guard among the 4 of them, assuming that you're going to bring Grimes back. So with Grimes, McCain, and then Maxey and Edgecombe, you don't have a real true lead guard.
That's also correct. And I like, out of the 4 of them, I like McCain the best in terms of distributing the ball and also still being able to score. Obviously, Maxey is the higher end of all 4, and he's the most suitable in terms of value. But McCain has showed his ability to distribute the ball and still somehow be able to get his. Edgecombe's going to have a learning curve. Grimes, the jury's still out on him. I think he was able to do what he did last season because we were just out of options. And he was given the green light and he could do whatever he could do. I think once Paul George is back, Joel is back, and no plays are run for him, I'd love to see how he fits into that system. Because you still, Joel, as great of a player as he is, he's slow. And the league is comprised of guys who move up and down the court pretty fast. So you got to run the offense through him. That's the major thing that they have to address.
What do you hear anything with Embiid at all about where he's at? Like, the quiet, it's amazing how quiet it's been around him. I mean, he hasn't really talked since March. He has the surgery. It's a minimal invasive surgery, a clean out. But we don't know anything about him.
You know the old adage: if you don't have anything good to say, don't say anything at all. That's what they're implying here. Is they're mum. They're not talking because anything you say can and will be used against you.
Spoken like a man. What's the show you like?
Oh, Dateline.
VG, Derrick is a Dateline freak.
Dateline freak?
Tell him this quickly because it's funny. Tell him you would have watch parties.
Dateline watch parties. Yes.
For just a regular episode, or it's like was there a special crime coming up you want them to cover? You're doing a party for?
Oh no, we would go through 4 or 5 episodes, and it's like Clue for us, and that's a special little tidbit on Ryan Howard. He'd come to my Dateline, my Dateline parties, and we would try to figure out who done it before the end of the episode.
Was Big Piece a Dateline freak too?
He loves Dateline, yes. Josh Mankiewicz.
Yeah, is it Chris Hannon? Who are the guys on Dateline? Who's your favorite of the Dateline hosts?
I love Josh Mankiewicz. He's a really good host, and there's a couple others. But I like about him is how they set the tone in the story
Yes.
before it gets there. You know, it's like
Yes.
as they're videoing over the calm weeds, they set the tone for you, and you can sit down and really get into it.
I mean, that's
And
Keith Morrison. Is he one of them?
Keith Morrison's probably at the top of the list because he's the ultimate storyteller.
So I have a friend who's obsessed with these shows. Do you go to CrimeCon? She goes to CrimeCon.
No, I don't. No, I
it's
don't.
all
I
about these
should.
true crime shows, and the Dateline guys are like the rock stars. They're like the keynote speakers.
It's unbelievable how someone
He's like, "Where's
you're on the show
CrimeCon?
and
I gotta go to CrimeCon."
you're watching it and you're like, oh, the lady, she killed her husband, and she joined the search party to find him.
You know, he's looking at his wife side-eyed all the time.
I make sure she eats first. So you take a spoon first.
That's the way the ladies do it. It's like they poison the soup.
And you,
Yeah,
a
no.
tiny undetectable amount of strychnine.
Yeah, like strychnine, arsenic in the soup.
That's in the sauce.
Yes, this Gatorade doesn't taste right.
All right, let's get back to the league itself. What'd you think, man? First of all, let's look at Dallas with Cooper. Cooper's just awesome. Like, you just see the kid,
Yeah.
star written all over him, unquestionable dominant player in the league. He reminds me of Peyton Manning coming into the NFL, that you knew that this kid's going to be a star.
Yeah, I think he's poised. He's got good people around him. His interviews were great. He says all the right things. And I think the stuff that's coming out of his mouth is absolutely true. Like the way he is going to fit into their system. He's not coming in thinking he controls the operation or he's all of their offense. He knows that he's going to be an important piece, right? And he's not even coming in demanding to start. He wants to play his role and see if he gets into that space. Now, he probably will start, but he's not coming in with the ultimatum like Ace did. You know, I need that. I need those minutes, where there's no guarantee that you are good enough for those minutes yet. There's a huge learning curve in coming from, you know, quote unquote amateur to pro.
I love Dylan Harper. I'm a huge Dylan Harper fan. Harper in San Antonio, it's fascinating. They have young guards, but, you know, I don't know if you heard this too, but I heard that San Antonio was, they had a lot of offers for that pick, and they were like, nah, you got to give away the moon. Otherwise, we like him.
Yeah, I really thought that they were going to get rid of that pick because of Fox. And I thought they had the perfect opportunity to get rid of that pick to Milwaukee and try to get Giannis. Maybe that deal broke down, but I thought that was their best possibility to get Giannis there, especially with Dame going down. Dylan in Milwaukee would have made sense, but unfortunately they didn't get it done. I like him because he's from great lineage. He's humble and he's out there to play basketball. He knows exactly who he is. The biggest issue and difference between rookies and guys who've been in the league is guys who are in the league really establish an identity. And rookies, sometimes they come in and they think they know who they are until they get in the room with all stars, right? And then you break down and you're like, well, maybe I'm not the strongest or the fastest or the best shooter. And you start to doubt yourself and you lose your identity. Then the team has to build that identity back up through player development. But when you get guys like Dylan who come in the league, you're not going to change his mind about who he is. He has an identity and he's going to run with it throughout his career.
Yeah, I liked it. I liked it. What else? Anybody else like kind of like stick out to you? You know, we talked about Ace going to Utah, which is like still amazing to me that
Yeah.
Danny Ainge goes there. He must know something.
Danny Ainge knows a lot. And one thing about him, he is always on the move. He's playing chess when others are playing checkers. You know, I know Philly fans will never forget the major fleece job he did with us, with Tatum. So he already has a built-in work ethic in terms of he's decisive. He understands who's going to be who. I think he knows even if he doesn't get the best out of Ace Bailey, someone else will come along and offer him the moon to get that kid from them.
Interesting how they'll use it as a chip down the line. Hey, what were the Pelicans doing? Why would you make that trade to move up 10 spots and give away an unprotected first that could be a high pick?
Sometimes it baffles me how some GMs are given the power and they have not proven that they can put someone in the right spot. It baffles me. And, until I'm in that spot where I baffle others, I just reserve comment on those who do the strangest things.
Yeah, man. I didn't get it. Anybody else you liked off of the draft?
I like the other kid from Duke. I thought we were going to go. Yeah, I thought we were going to go maybe that way in terms of a shooter, because we don't really have a pure shooter. And he has some size on him. He lacks defense and slow feet, but, so does everyone else on that team. So it wouldn't have been a major loss. I think he can stretch the floor, and certainly that would be good. If Joel comes back healthy, you need a floor stretcher.
Yeah, man. It's weird, this coming up. The Eastern Conference is barren. All the talent in the West with these super teams. I mean, Houston gets KD, and they're probably not done. San Antonio's nasty. Dallas, we just talked about. Denver is still hanging around. They still probably will make a trade. Minnesota, obviously there with Ant-Man. Lakers with Luka. Like, it's pretty wild when you see all the talent in the West.
It's certainly lopsided. And I think did they go back to the East-West format in All-Star? I don't know what they do in the All-Star anymore, but
I stopped paying attention to that when it was Team LeBron.
I don't know who creates it, but they're awful at it. But it's pretty lopsided. You would suspect that the East would try to figure it out and try to get some of those guys from the West Coast. But look, I think Giannis might take a trip and go West Coast as well. Like, the East is going to be completely barren, which is why at the GM and the president spot, you have to figure out the best angles to get you in a win now spot. Like, you can sneak in and slip in and win one like Toronto did. They got what's the name from San Antonio, and came in for 1 year, put them in position, won a championship.
Yeah, Kawhi.
Yeah, and everything's great, right? So we have that opportunity, specifically now with everyone being injured, unfortunately, as a GM, to go out and get guys that are young, athletic, healthy. Now is when you give up the farm so that you can try to make a push to at least put yourself in position to be Eastern Conference finalists and NBA champions.
Yeah, my man. My man, listen, enjoy breakfast. We got day 2 coming up. I know you'll be busy working it.
Yeah, sure. Hopefully, keep your fingers crossed for Sam Hines. He's one of our guys. And hopefully he sneaks in at 40 or down.
What do you think of Fleming?
I think he's good. I think he's probably, of the next 15 available, he's up there. He's probably 5 or 6.
I want him for the Sixers. You get some size.
Yeah, they do need size. We are very, very small. We're gonna lose Yabusele, so we lose size there. It's going to be a tall task for them to try to figure out how to get size and athleticism. And like Daryl promised, younger. We're going to play the younger guys. So it's a lot of work ahead of them.
Yeah.
Hey, Derrick, being that we're a meat-heavy show, what breakfast meat did you go with?
So I went with. I'm healthy today for my wife.
It's a lot of greens on the plate.
Yeah, a lot of greens on the plate. I got a Western omelet, a little bit of ham I put there, but I'm on a health kick now. I gotta get back to healthy. My daughter, she went all in. She went chicken. She went chicken and waffles.
Nice.
Strong.
Chicken and waffles.
Yeah, that's
wow.
strong.
That's great. All right, my brother. Listen, enjoy breakfast and have a prosperous night. All right.
Thank you very much.
The great Derrick Brooks, my man.
Dateline.
He's a Dateline head.
Dateline head.
Is there something along those lines?
Of what?
Like that you like? That's that kind of
True crime stuff?
I don't know.
You know me. I like weird stuff. Like,
well, you're a weirdo, right?
Yeah. I like bad reality TV.
Oh, that's right. I
of
forgot.
them.
What am I saying?
Yeah.
Love Island.
Yeah.
Coming up, a little fun for the rest of the show because we do our soccer, our World Cup, Club World Cup update every Thursday. And we love our World Cup and what's happening in Philadelphia and planning it. One of the great new spots is the Lion Bar.
All
in
right.
Chinatown. Mark is coming up. And Mark, in fact, all the World Cup Philly people were there last week for a watch party drinking messy margaritas.
I like it.
All right?
Yeah.
So we're going to do some messy margaritas. I know Joey's happy about that.
Just nods.
He's nods and he's ready to go. None for you, Hayden. Although you can eat the chicken. All right, you got good chicken sandwiches too.
Oh, nice.
All right.
Yeah.
So that's all set up.
Go.
That's coming up, Mark, from the Lion Bar. Awesome.
All right, let's talk about Ace Hardware Home Services. These people are saviors because for people like me and Anthony who don't know our way around a house and don't know the difference between a Phillips head and what's the other one called? Oh, flathead. Yeah, the Ace Hardware Home Services are here to help you because if you got an outlet that's not working, Ace Hardware Home Services got people for that because now they're not just the helpful hardware folks, they're also the helpful home service and repair folks. From plumbing, heating, electrical, cooling, they got trusted pros to keep your house running all year long. Ace Hardware Home Services, they're bringing the helpful home, the helpful you love from the store now to your front door, and they go from Philly all the way down to the Jersey Shore. And Ace Hardware Home Services, they bring what you need. They bring experience. They got local plumbers and techs that handle everything from repairs and seasonal maintenance to installation upgrades. They bring understanding, listening to your goals. They make sure you're satisfied before they're done. And you can spend more time working on projects that are important to you. They give you free estimates on equipment installation and replacement with trusted advisors and options that are best suited for your home budget. They give you service you can trust, and satisfaction is always guaranteed. Ace Hardware Home Services are also local. Their teams live and serve in your communities. They're your neighbors, and they're dedicated to keeping their neighbors comfortable in their own homes. So visit Ace Hardware Home Services online at acehardwarehomeservices.com and get started on your next home repair project.
Love it, love it, love it. All right, let's talk about Cherry Hill Jeep. Cherry Hill Jeep, a folk auto dealership. That's right. You're looking for a Jeep, Ram truck. There's only one dealership in South Jersey who has been the market leader since 1967.
Wow.
That's right. My friends at Cherry Hill Jeep, cherryhilljeep.com online. That's Dante runs that dealership. South Philadelphia's own Dante does a great job running that dealership. A Charlie Folk auto dealership. They have great stuff going on right now. Slide into a Jeep Grand Cherokee this month. Not only is it the most awarded SUV ever, it was also named MotorWeek's best mid-size utility vehicle for the past 2 years in a row. That's in addition to being the 2024 IIHS top safety pick. You can pull away the most luxurious and functional pickup truck on the market today. The the 2025 Ram 1500, which received the most coveted award in the pickup truck industry. 2025 Motor Trend Truck of the Year. All right, stop in today. You tell them I sent you. Yeah, baby. They're going to give you the cuz discount. All right? An additional $1,000 for your trade-in. You name it, all kinds of great stuff. I'm telling you, go see Dante. He's going to love it. All right? You're going to love it. He's going to love you. Drive home your new Jeep or Ram truck today. Minutes from all bridges, available online 24/7. cherryhilljeep.com. All right? I know people buy Jeeps or Rams elsewhere. I just don't know why. Don't get it. All right. World Cup stuff. Let's have some fun. Yeah. I want you to meet Mark. He's got Lion Bar. Mark,
How we doing?
what do you say, buddy?
Good morning.
What's up, Mark? Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You got a good vibe about you. Right off the bat, big smile. Yeah, right? That's a good vibe guy.
Yeah.
He's got the jersey on.
There we go. Got the rep.
Kit, dude. We've
I
learned
know.
it's a kit.
Got the rep.
I always gotta say kit.
Yeah.
I always
So
forget.
Andrew was here.
Andrew tells us all about it. So, Mark, tell us first of all, you hosted a big watch party with our World Cup Philly people. They loved you, by the way.
Oh, that's fantastic. They're great people over there. Yeah, so Lion Sports Bar, we're over at 10th and Arch. We're brand new soccer bar, and in the 3 months we've been open, we've become known as the place to watch soccer in Philly. So come on down and see us.
That's awesome, man. I love it. First of all, I love that neighborhood. I'm a big fan of Chinatown. It's one of the great spots in our city. Such great places to go, such great restaurants. And you know what's interesting? What was always missing was a great sports bar.
Oh, I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, that's one of the reasons we opened. That area is just, it needs more vibrant places to go. And, you know, Lion Sports Bar, there's sports fans from all over the area. They can come down and watch soccer. And the city doesn't really have an authentic soccer bar.
No.
We're open for every single Premier League match. We're open for every single Serie A match. So we're the only bar in the city that can say that.
Wow. So you do every Premier League and Serie A?
Yes, absolutely.
Wow. I'm a
Dude, I got to tell you, I got a text from
Yeah, we're Napoli fans.
Oh, I love to hear that. I love to hear that.
I got a text from a friend, Lisa. She's from Ireland, huge soccer fan. She lives in Florida. She texted me at 8:19 in the morning on Saturday and says, "Do you know the Lions Sports Bar? It was just voted best soccer bar by an American magazine. What's the name of the magazine that voted you that?"
Yeah, so it's funny. We've been getting a lot of press. So Infatuation actually voted us best sports bar.
Oh,
Dude,
nice.
that's
And
awesome, man.
The Times of London actually just wrote an article about us too.
What? Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's fantastic. Now, are you Philadelphia born and bred?
So I actually grew up in Allentown.
Okay.
So, you know,
Lehigh Valley? You're close.
absolutely. Grew up a Philly sports fan.
And what made you decide to open this place? And give us a little backstory.
Yeah, absolutely. So I own another company called Happy Hour Philly. We do marketing for restaurants and bars all over the city. So we were actually brought on board to promote a restaurant in Chinatown. Used to be called Din Fang Tang. They weren't doing very well, so they brought us on board to kind of do marketing for them. And we had this crazy out-of-the-box idea to start promoting Eagles games at a Chinese restaurant, which nobody would thought would work, right? But every single week, we were packed. There was a line out the door.
Nice.
You couldn't get enough space in there. And so after the Eagles and their great run this past year, we switched it over to Lion Sports Bar. I came on as a partner, and we've been crushing it ever since.
Dude,
Oh,
that's
man.
a great story. So you're going to be all soccer, football?
If it's Philly sports, we're doing it. Any soccer match, we have it. And Formula One, we open up for every Formula One race as well.
Wow.
Wow,
They're early in the morning
Oh,
sometimes?
they're crazy times.
Well, yeah, because of the time
Yeah,
difference.
yeah.
You get it at all kinds of
Yeah.
So you open for every F1.
We do.
Wow.
Plus, we have $3 Guinness for every single F1
Whoa,
race.
dude, that's the best deal in town because Guinness is running $8-9 a lot
Oh,
of
no
bars.
doubt.
Yeah, what happened to
$3
Guinness? Like, we've been drinking for
Yeah,
years.
it's $9 at most bars.
It's
now.
crazy, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, like where'd that come from?
because they can.
I was going to the black sheet. It was $3.
Yes,
Right?
Now
Like
it
back in the day.
Now it's $3 here. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
You don't need a time machine. You can just come to our place.
That's fantastic. That's great. So I love it. You know what's funny? Because you tapped into something. Because Chinatown is a monster sports area. Like, it's funny. My cousin years ago, we used to always love going late night to Chinatown.
It's the only place in the city to go late night, right?
Right? Like, there was nothing better than a bowl of soup, right? Like,
Yeah, I
I
hear
get
ya.
the roast pork noodle soup. I used to love it. You go to David's or whatever,
Yeah,
right? I 2 in the morning. And it was always the best. Like, you go and hang out.
Sometimes there's a line at 2 in the morning.
I
even.
know. It like fantastic. So it was one of our rituals, right? Yeah, we change. One time we get a steak, one time we go to Chinatown, and we loved it. But one time we're walking around and I walk in a place and people knew where I was. And my cousin's like, dude, how do they know you? I'm like, this is great. Chinatown, a lot of sports fans.
Oh, no doubt about it. I mean, they're born and bred Philly sports fans, and that's what's so great about Lion Bar. We get people from all over, including locals in Chinatown and people from all
everywhere.
over.
You're going to get all over the place.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And what I love about Lion Bar is that it makes Chinatown an even bigger destination.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. We've definitely put Chinatown on the map. Like I said, we've been getting press from all over the country as well as all over the world, talking about our bar and how authentic we are for Philly sports as well as for soccer.
I love this dude, man.
Philly
this dude rules.
Great energy.
Philly's got to be the greatest sports city in the world. And so why can't we bring that energy to soccer?
Dude, that's exactly right. And this is why I'm so excited by what's going to happen next summer. Meg, who is in charge of Philly soccer, who I adore. I mean, the stuff that she's bringing in, like, I don't think we even understand the amount of people that are going to be in town have you been to a World Cup ever?
I haven't been to a World Cup. No, I got to tell you, the chance that we have to have a World Cup be in Philadelphia is once in a generation.
Yeah.
And so just with the Club World Cup this summer, which isn't going to be nearly as big as the World Cup next year, we've had so many fans from Brazil come through our bar every night. And that's just a little taste of what we're going to see next year.
So have you had a lot of different groups come in?
I got to say, the Flamengo fans, they have been showing up en masse. Those guys are crazy. We love you guys.
Do you know how what drove them to you? How did they find you?
Who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, we're just
That's
known
cool,
as the place,
man.
right?
So what did you bring us? Go. what do we got here?
Let's go.
Because
let's
I know
go.
we have the messy margaritas.
Okay, so we do. So we got a bunch of stuff here for you guys. So
Look
let's
at
start
this.
off. Let's start off with some sandwiches here.
All right, what do we got here?
All right,
Joey,
hold
come
on.
here. You're going to be eating. All right. Look at these beautiful sandwiches. Look at this.
All right. So this is a Ronaldo chicken sandwich.
A
as you can see.
Ronaldo chicken sandwich. Look at this bad boy. What is that? Prosciutto on there?
It is. It is
Wow.
prosciutto. So it's actually Iberico,
That sounds like yes.
which makes a lot of sense,
Oh,
right?
Ronaldo. Oh my God. Joey, here. Take a bite. Come on. I am. I'm going to eat, but I want you. I need to talk, so I need to make sure. So you're my proxy here. That looks outrageous. The Iberico ham.
Yeah.
That's genius.
Thank you.
With the chicken sandwich, that works great.
Oh, it tastes fantastic. And, I got to say, I grew up a Manchester United fan. I got to represent the GOAT.
That's awesome. My
Dude, that
God.
is awesome.
Joey, come in the camera. Joey, in the camera. Behind me.
What do you think? What do you think?
Low down. Come on, sit down. Relax. You know what I mean? Hang out. Kneel down. Do what you got to do. Just sit where everybody can see
A
you.
little kick to it too. What's
Yeah,
on
it's
that?
spicy.
Yeah,
It's spicy.
it's
So
good.
we actually we brine the chicken for several hours in special sauce.
I can't wait to dive into that. That's going to be all.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, that looks outrageous. And I'm a huge fan of the Iberico. I mean, I love that. We go to my man Emilio over at the Bruno's.
Nice.
Has the Iberico. That's a genius concept.
Thank you. Thank you.
Genius concept. All right, what else we got?
All right. So we also
So
have here.
Did you bring the messy margaritas?
I did bring the messy
Yes!
margaritas.
He brought actual glassware.
I love it.
This guy's killing it.
All right, hold on. We got to do some setup work. We got to do some setup
Oh, I
work.
love it. Look, Mark is the greatest, man. dude.
I have to do every Friday with Mark.
Well, here's the thing. We're close by.
That's very true. You're right
Like,
down
how
the
long did it
street.
take? Right, we're close by, so I think we're gonna have to.
Probably quicker to walk, honestly.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. I could see a new remote home too for us.
We gotta go. This sandwich is so good.
Yeah, Joey, loving
I'm
it.
in love with this sandwich.
Yeah.
I love to hear it. I love to hear it.
Look at this, the messy
All right,
margarita.
so messy margarita, as you can see, is Inter Miami Pink.
Yeah. Oh, dude, that's fabulous, man.
All right, here we go. And you can see each one comes with a little Lionel Messi collectible sticker.
Dude, that's awesome. Oh my God. That's delicious.
I can't wait.
Dude, that's delicious.
I gotta tell you, summertime,
Wow.
nothing hits like a margarita. Am I right?
No, and that's a great, and I love the idea that you're going with the Miami pink.
I gotta
It's
tell
perfect.
you, the only MLS team to show up this tournament. Am I right?
Yeah.
I don't know what's
Am I
going
right?
on. I
He's
don't know
looking
what's
to me.
going on.
Am I right? All right, that's fantastic. All right, let me ask you, because let's go over the schedule. All right. How tasty is that?
Hey, we got cheers. We got cheers, gentlemen. Let's do
I'm
it.
trying to get back to the sandwich.
All right. Yeah, listen, the Lion Sports Bar, Mark, new friend. My God. Delicious, delicious. All right, so we got Club World Cup. This is ends the group stage. All right, the monster match today, and I'm sure you can't wait, is Juventus and Man City.
It's going to be a big one. It's going to be huge. You know, I got to say, the Club World Cup has not had a lot of good matchups. The matchups have been very skewed.
First round, I mean,
yeah, so the knockout round should be good.
Yeah, once you get out of group stage.
But today, absolutely, the European teams have not been playing very well. So it's going to be interesting to see who actually shows up today.
Yeah, and then, you know, you have the two heavyweights with Man City and Juventus. They both need to win, right? To get
They
in.
do. So I don't know if you guys saw the City game that was over at the Link last week.
You're right.
But City, they just shut it down. They scored 2 goals. Erling Haaland came in, and he didn't do anything.
No.
Man City fans are going to be angry at me for saying that, but it's the truth. They just shut it down.
I think he just scored on a penalty kick, and it was just a PK.
It's just, you know, he has not been playing well, and it continued over into the Club World Cup.
Yeah, now, what's the game we have
Tonight's
tonight?
Real Madrid.
Tonight is
At
Real
the
Madrid.
Link. Yeah, we got against RB Salzburg, right?
It's true. It's true. So I'm hoping that we have some Real Madrid fans here in the city that come in and visit us. They gotta show up, right?
Oh my God, this is perfect. They got to show up tonight. It's a great night tonight. Tonight at 9 o'clock at the Link.
Yeah,
it's going to be incredible.
Easy walk to the subway from his spot. Just have some drinks and food. Hop the
on
subway
right at
down to the
race.
game.
Yeah. Who you like? So I mean, doesn't Madrid have to? They have to show up.
So
they beat Pachuca 3-1, but they tied. It was a draw with Al-Hilal.
So it's time for the European teams to show up. You know, I think you're going to see Real Madrid absolutely blow it out tonight. You know, last night Inter Milan knocked out River Plate, who has been playing very well, but it's time for the European teams to start stepping up, and I think you'll see that.
I was rooting for the Reds, but they got smashed last night.
Yeah,
by
2-0.
Monterrey.
Japanese team?
Yeah. They were fun because they go up and down they're like they play with pace.
Yes. The fans take it seriously. They're like weeping the one game. Their fans.
A lot of passion.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing that stands out the most is just the passion that's involved in this sport. It's awesome.
That's what I'm saying. Philly, we have such passionate fans, and you can see that with the soccer fans too. And I really encourage all the people in Philly, around Philly, to start following soccer if you don't follow it.
Yeah.
It is such a next level thing. We got to talk about relegation. Relegation doesn't exist in any American sport. If you don't know what relegation is, look it up in soccer. The worst teams get sent down to the league below them. That's crazy.
Well, you know what? I lied. You should be a stand-up comedian. Well, you know, it's funny. It's what I want to see college football become. Because you have so many teams that you could do tier leagues.
Oh, you're totally right.
In college football.
You're totally
So you have
right.
the Power 5 conferences that will shrink into basically 2 conferences, an AFC, NFC, like in the NFL. And then everybody else after the Power 5 could be another league, right, that you play for. And then you can go up and down with relegation.
Why can't we do this with AAA baseball? Why can't we do this with G League? I think this would make things so much more exciting.
Yeah, it would. The owners would never go for it.
Oh, of course not.
but you could do it for college football. It could, actually could work.
How many TVs do you have in this spot? I'm looking at
35 TVs. Come on down.
All right. So what are your specials? Other than the incredible chicken sandwich, the Ronaldo chicken, what do you recommend at your joint?
Yeah, so we actually have the messy margaritas, obviously. We have $8 regular margaritas, classic margaritas.
By the way, real quick, we are in overtime OT with Messi and the messy margaritas.
No, that's a reasonably priced margarita too.
I agree with you. We got pitcher specials on Ultra. We got specials on Kona beer. We got I totally forgot. Every time there's a goal scored during the whole Club World Cup, we're doing 50-cent Jello shots.
Man, I love this.
That's cool. Jello shots every time there's a goal.
I might be out watching the game. I might be out watching the Real Madrid game.
That's awesome. That's a fun time, man.
Well, I gotta tell you, the first Bayern Munich game, we had some drunk people after the end of that one. It was 10-0.
Yeah, no, 10-0, right. That's nuts. I love it. That's fantastic.
50 cents.
You can't beat it. How about your food? What other items do you recommend?
Oh my God! So we think we got the best wings in the city. They're crispy. They're full size, and on Thursdays they're 50 cents.
Dude, I'm looking at a picture of General Tso's nachos.
One and only, where we create them in-house.
Dude,
General Tso's nachos.
Well, that's genius. Are you serious?
They're delicious. They're huge too. You gotta bring a friend. You can't take them down by yourself.
Oh my God, that's fantastic. I absolutely
these are
love
crazy. Thursdays, 50-cent wings. Happy hour. These foods are $5. Fries, mozzarella sticks, cheesesteak, egg rolls, corn ribs, cucumber chili dogs, pork wontons, all $5 during happy hour.
I love a pork wonton.
We're very reasonable for prices. I gotta tell you.
So I love the fact that you're merging. There's a fusion.
We have.
I love the Asian fusion.
Absolutely.
Because it goes so well.
So we actually have a classic Chinese menu as well as all the American bar favorites too.
Dude,
I love this. You do a nighttime happy hour, 10 p.m. to midnight happy hour on Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday.
We're getting people in left and right. I'll tell you.
Happy
Come on
hour
down and see us.
at 10 o'clock.
Yo, VG, we're hooked up, man. That's a good spot. We love it. Mark, you're a blast, Mark.
I love it.
You're so much fun, dude. I wish you.
What is this picture of a coconut or a pineapple with stuff in it?
Oh, I'm telling you, we got all sorts of Asian foods that you wouldn't believe.
I don't know. What is this?
I like this. Let me see that. Hang on, come back. My eyes are big.
Pineapple with like chili in it or something? Or?
We got all sorts of specials all during the week too, though. So like Mondays, we got $1.50 tacos. On Wednesdays, we got $1.50 skewers.
Oh my God, dude! Really?
How you staying in business with these
Thursdays
prices?
and Sundays, 50-cent wings.
And you said they're full-size wings.
Full-size wings.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, we're in, brother. Yeah. We're in the Lions Sports Bar. It sounds like a blast. All right, we'll be doing shows from your joint. We like it. It's Mark. It's his joint. He does a great job. Mark, hit us with back in the day. Say time now for the back in the day moment.
Time now for the back in the day moment.
We're going back. We're going back. We're going back in the day.
All right, what do we got, my brother?
We're going to the last time the Sixers drafted a kid with some good heart and motor and very likable. Let's set some good mojo for this pick going forward.
Maxey?
Maybe.
What have you learned from the time you've spent playing with Rajon Rondo and the like?
I learned a lot. Here, man. I'm sorry. You got it, brother.
It is a big moment for you.
I learned so much from Rondo. I learned so much from Rondo. I really appreciate him, man. He took the time out of his day every single morning to teach me the tricks of the trade. And I want to say thank you so much. And I thank Philadelphia for this opportunity. I promise you, it won't be a regret.
I love
me tear up.
I remember that moment. I love that. I love Tyrese Maxey. It's why when we talk about like moving him on, it makes me
so bad.
It kills me.
Yes.
I freaking love that kid. Tyrese Maxey is
Why
the
would
best.
we trade away our future? He is the future of the franchise. Let's be real.
People would talk about this kind of restarting the whole thing, but yeah, I love that kid. And I remember his father, because his father played such an integral role. And, he's like, it's all right, man. Like, he's just a cool guy. I love that story. That's one of my favorite moments of that. I remember watching it live and falling in love with it.
Mm-hmm.
It's beautiful. Yeah. Beautiful. Mark, what a pleasure, brother.
Thank you for having me.
We'll
I
be seeing
appreciate
you
it.
again, man. We'll be seeing you again. Faux show. All right. Everybody have a great day. All right. We love you. See you tomorrow for Football Friday.
We all silly like the mayor.